Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I have with us Maya from Our Place Event Space and Kitchen. I always get tongue tied when I say that. I apologize.
No worries.
So, tell me a little bit more about yourself and Our Place Event Space and Kitchen.
Okay, so again, I'm Maya, and I've been doing this for probably about 17 years now. When I started, I was just doing things for friends, and people were like, "Oh, you need to do this." And so I started doing it a little bit, but not charging the right price. And then starting to like understand, doing a lot of research, and like, oh, okay, I am worth more, or I should charge more to do these things because I'm really good at it. Love working with a budget friendly client because I can help them still plan amazing events on a budget and still make it look beautiful. With my business partner, he's married to a friend of mine who I went to high school with, and so he does the catering side of things, and he was doing catering, and we would collaborate on events sometimes. And if I needed a caterer for a wedding I was hired for, I'd hire him. If he knew that the client he was doing catering for needed an event planner, he would tell me about it. And so we would just work together. And finally, the venue fell in our laps in October of 2021. And then we got the keys in January 2022. And we've just been like moving along really quickly.
So, for those of us who don't know where Our Place Event Space and Kitchen is, it's.
So we're in Old Sacramento,
Mhm.
and it's the former Jasmine's Art of Pasta. So anytime people come there and they know about Jasmine's because it was a huge staple in Old Sacramento, they're like, "Oh my God, I remember this place." It just has a different entry. It looks different, but they feel all the good vibes. And then after that, it was Courtyard de Oro, which was a wedding venue for a while, and then now it's us. And so we're right behind, if you know where Firehouse Restaurant is, we back up into them. Our courtyards are like literally right next to each other.
Oh, and that's such beautiful vibes there in Old
Hmm.
Sacramento and the
For
brick
sure.
buildings. And I love it. So, what are some of the current styles or popular themes that weddings are taking on this year that you're seeing?
So some of the things I've seen are like the pastel dresses, kind of like Penelope and Bridgerton. Oh my God, her dress was beautiful. Love that. And then just pastel colors too for weddings, wildflowers and like the little bud vases. The heart-shaped cakes are really popular right now. People are definitely doing away with those 3 to 5 tower cake tiered cakes and wasting cake, and they're going along with either a sheet cake in the back and doing a little personalized cake just for them to cut for the picture, or doing more of dessert bars and then just still having a small cake to cut. um, the new guest book now is an audiobook, which I love. It's the old school phone you pick up and you just say a sweet message. So I think that's really cool. A lot of people are tying like bows on the corner of the chair. I have a client that's getting ready to do that and do bows down the aisle on each chair, bows on the menus, bows everywhere. And so I really like that. And another thing was permanent favors. So we had a client last year, and it's even carrying over to this year, that did flash tattoos, and it was so cool. And all
Wow.
of the guests got to pick, she picked pre-picked tattoos with her husband, and all of the guests got to get a tattoo.
That is amazing. That is definitely something you'll have forever.
Exactly, permanent favors. So I thought that was really cool and unique, and I was surprised that it was, she is ahead of the game because she did it last October, and it's a trend this year for sure.
So, what are you seeing as far as like trends or popular items when it comes to cuisine?
Cuisine, I see more people doing less heavy foods and a lot of like heavy apps, grazing tables. We love a good grazing table at our place. Like we try to throw that in all the time because it feeds a lot. So we'll put hummus and spinach dip, and then lots of cheese and meat and fruit and stuff. And lots of people love to just nosh on that, and then you don't have to spend as much on the main entree because you're filling up on the appetizers during the cocktail hour. So I see people doing that, and then just doing, or they're doing like the late night snacks with like a taco bar, nacho bar, pizza with brick oven pizza sometimes. We've had someone come in or bring in like a churro maker, or the little pancakes. We've had someone come and do that. And so there's just so many different options now, which is really awesome for people.
And I love a late night snack. After dancing the
Right.
night away and celebrating the couple, I need some snacks.
Right. Exactly.
So I love that that trend is here to stay.
Right.
Um, So, when engaged couple, when does an engaged couple need, or do they need to know exactly what they want when they contact you, or do you kind of work with them to find their vision and help them to really find a path for their wedding?
I mean, for me, I think the ideal couple is the one that comes in that's like, "Oh my god, I have everything that I had." I had a couple or a bride that she had everything labeled, and I was like, "Oh, you're amazing." Because I'm just super OCD and love all the organization. However, I do love helping because it's mostly the bride. Like the fiance comes along and they may not have an idea. Um, but I think that when the one of the two comes in and they know exactly what they want, it's awesome. But when they don't, I love to be able to create that vision for them and just have them give me something about themselves that is like, I at least want it to look elegant. I want it to look whimsical. I want it to look, just pretty. And so then we can just plan it out and then I help them build this vision as we go. And then it's just a really beautiful journey.
I love that. Um, what information does the couple have to have though to like start? What is like we have to have this information
We
to even
definitely
begin?
need to know the date. That helps. I love being able to have a budget because I know that what I'm working with and I know what vendors I can refer them to. You have some high-end vendors and you have some vendors that are going to work with your budget. So I definitely knowing that number. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, we don't have a budget," and then you start telling them all the numbers and like, "Oh, that's too expensive." I'm like, "This is why we need a budget because it helps to not, make your eyes wide and feel like you can't do this. If you have a number that you're like, I can do plus or minus 2000 or, something, you can still have a really great wedding on a budget. So getting those numbers, maybe having your color scheme, having your location if it's not at our venue, because we do a lot of offsite things as well. So having the location is important. Um, and then just having an idea of like maybe how many people you want your guest count for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, what if a couple contacts you and they're like, well, I'm not really seeing exactly what I want on your website, but like, should I still like get in touch with you? Should we still have a consultation? What advice do you have for those couples?
Oh, for sure. So we definitely want to invite them for a tour and we'll walk them through the whole venue, show them the bridal suite, show them the emerald or the blush suite and the emerald suite. Because we have two different suites for you to get dressed in. Walk through, show them like where the kitchen area is, the courtyard, show them where there's good spots to take pictures sometimes in the alleyway where a lot of people have taken pictures because it's so beautiful down there. And then just go over all the questions they may have and just make them feel much more comfortable by walking through because a lot of people are visual. And reading the information is much different than coming and seeing how the whole layout is and envisioning this is where your arch goes for your ceremony. This is where you'll walk down the aisle. This is where you'll have your food. This is where cocktail hour will be. This is where you'll come down the hall, when you're walking down the aisle, we're waiting for you, to come down and come out to the courtyard.
Yeah, I think that's the key is that being in a venue and having like someone point those things out, it is very different than just seeing something on the computer
For
or
sure.
your phone.
Even looking at pictures, you're like, oh, I see the picture, but then you can't imagine it until you
Hmm.
come and you see, oh, this is where I'll dance my first dance, and this is where my sweetheart table will go. So
Yeah, I love that. So, what's the ideal timeline for the engaged couple to book everything?
I would say ideal is probably about 6 months. If you're booking a year in advance, then great. That's awesome, and you have a lot of time to plan. You don't have to rush. Um, 6 months, you're probably a little bit more in a time crunch, especially for certain vendors, photographers that are popular, whether or not um, like the DJ is available if you're using a very popular DJ. But I think that you could get it done in 6 months.
How stressed out do you think those couples are that are doing it in 6 months?
Um, I think that they are stressed out, but I mean, I've seen some stressed out couples that are like a year, 18 months away, and I'm like, it's okay. Like once they walk through and like, oh, okay, then I feel better now. But I think weddings just bring the jitters and stress as soon as you say, will you marry me? Yes. And it's like go time. And so I feel like the stress is just on depending on the situation and the couple.
Yeah. Well, it seems like working with you, you're so calm and just like would bring a calming vibe to a couple.
Totally. I love this. And people are like, how do you do this? It's so stressful. I'm like, it is my calming place. It's my place where I just love to just see people enjoy their day, whatever event it is, and it all come to light. And I just make sure everybody is good. And I mean, side note, I'm a high school counselor, so I have a background in counseling. And so to be calm during chaotic moments is just, that's just my thing.
That is you. You're
That's
just
me.
you bring the calm to
Right.
everything. I love that. That is amazing. You should have that on the website.
I bring the calm to the storm.
Exactly. That
Exactly.
should be your like slogan.
Love it. I think you're on to something.
So, 6 months is like when you're saying they should do everything. What about like their tasting or when should they like really like narrow down what they want to eat?
So tasting is probably about 3 months in advance, just
Mhm.
especially if they're, like I said, if they're going with us, we can do it in 3 months. Even shorter time if they are still trying to figure out other things, but definitely like 3 months and they come in and they get to pick um, a couple of entrees and their salad and their sides and they come in and they are just figuring out their menu and then we just make it really nice for them and they can bring up to 4 people
Mhm.
and the food is just amazing. So they come and they're like, "Oh my god!" And they like, "What else do you have on the menu?"
So, what advice do you have for those couples that are having kids at their wedding and maybe they don't have the same palate for adult wedding food as some of our guests?
So we definitely do a kids menu. We can, do mac and cheese or chicken strips or, anything that they chicken nuggets or whatever they want for their kids or half portions of the regular menu that is because some kids have much better palates these days. So everyone doesn't want a chicken strip or a mac and cheese. They do want some salmon or some,
Mhm.
mixed vegetables. But we can either do where it's half portions or we can create a whole separate menu for the kids.
What about for your guests that maybe have dietary restrictions? Because I know we've got quite a few people that
Right.
maybe have a different life, like diet style, or maybe they have some allergies. What is your advice for those guests?
Just letting us know. We definitely do the gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, whatever they need. They just let us know ahead of time and we have it back in the kitchen where we're like, okay, we have one plate that's gluten-free or one plate that's allergic to mushrooms or avocado or something like that. And so just making sure we are paying attention to those details.
So that's something that our couples really need to make sure that they're reaching out to their
Mm-hmm.
guests and getting that information.
Yeah.
How far in advance should they be getting that information from their guests so they can relay it back to their caterers or
I would
planner?
say like after they do the tasting, so
Mhm.
within that 3 month time span, knowing that okay, this is the food we're going to choose, because we'll ask them at the tasting, do you have any guests that have any dietary restrictions? And so because we do like for our vegetarian option, we'll do like a vegetarian lasagna, and they'll still get all the sides, but that is their main course. And so we'll let them know that these are our options that we have for you, so just get back to us as soon as possible so that we can add that, 'cause especially when it's only one person or two people.
Mhm.
But we'll definitely make an exception for them.
What does the average wedding setup time look like for, when you're doing timeline wise for the day of? Like, how much time do couples need to allocate for like setup and all those fun things?
So when you rent the venue for a wedding, it's normally for a 12-hour rental. And so the time, it's about 5 to 6 hours of setup, and that's for your vendors to come in and for your coordinator. If it's me, I'll be decorating and setting up all the table. Well, my staff will set up the tables and the chairs, and then we'll come and put the linens on centerpieces and have everything set up. And then it's time for the ceremony and then cocktail hour, and that's about 6 hours. And so you get about six for setup and cleanup, and then six for your wedding.
Yeah, that's great. For when you do like the offsite,
Mhm.
when your couples are trying to figure out their timeline, then what should they be allocating for like offsite setups and or offsite catering setups?
I think they, definitely having a venue that has around the same time frame. If we're coming in doing catering, we like to set up 2 hours before just so that we could get in our load time and walk through the venue if we haven't done a walkthrough already. And can know where the kitchen is, what type of kitchen it's going to be, if it's just a prep kitchen versus a full kitchen, what we can use in the kitchen as far as for catering, and then we'll set up our line, and then we're just ready to serve. Most of the time it's buffet. It's very rarely that it's plated and having to um, serve that way. But when it's a buffet line, just setting up the buffet line, and then the cleanup is the easy part.
So, since you brought up buffet and plated, can you tell us a little bit more about the different types of services? Because not everyone knows the different services when they're talking to caterers or
Mhm.
what they're actually looking for. They might not know the right names of what
Right.
they're seeing in their head, so they have the right verbiage.
So buffet style is when, and we do a served buffet, and that means that our staff will serve your guest as they're coming through the buffet line. And it helps with portion control. It helps when people aren't going there like they're going to Hometown Buffet or Golden Corral and serving themselves so much food that they don't eat it all and there's all this food thrown away. So we portion it down, and then everyone is getting enough of everything. And then they're definitely welcome to come back through a second time and get more food. When it's plated service is when we are bringing the plate to your table. The other style we do as well is family style, where we put the food on platters and bring the food to that table, and so that whole table eats off that one. Those different platters for the different items that are on the menu.
That is great information. Thank you so much for telling us. So, what advice do you have? It's two parts. What advice do you have if someone is on a strict budget and still wants that luxury feel for their wedding when it comes to like planning and having their wedding at your space?
I definitely try to get them to give a list of all their wants, and then break it down to, okay, these are things that I absolutely have to have, and these are the things that I would like to have or wish I can have. But the things that you can't live without, those are the things you need to budget your money for. And if there's room to take things off or add things later, then that's what we can do. Find money in the budget. Um, Also, seeing if there's family members that can gift you things. So you have an aunt and uncle that will cover the cost of your DJ. Well, now that's given you six to $1,800, depending on how much your DJ is, back into your budget. If you have family members that are gifting you other things and now your budget is increasing, you can start taking some of those things off of your wish list that you want to have in there. Um, Telling them to go on Facebook Marketplace and finding that bride that just had a wedding, and buy all their stuff because they have table numbers and they have chargers and they have cake, the cake knife and serving set that they're never going to use again, and that may go with your color scheme. There's nothing wrong with recycling things because we do it all the time. And so definitely going on those different the groups on Facebook, and buying those things and cutting your costs, going on Amazon and doing the DIY bride, doing all of that stuff is going to help still give you this glamorous day and not make it look cheap, and but still beat your budget.
I love that. So, what about when it comes to food, like our catering, and we really want to have like that high end feel for our meal, but maybe we can't really afford filet mignon for every person?
Right. Right. That is when, I mean, we definitely try to work with them. What we do is we let them know either you have a budget of this per person, or you have a total budget of this that you want to spend on food. And so we can work backwards and let you know, okay, if this is what you want to spend on food, this is the menu that we can give you. Or if you're saying, I want filet mignon, and then we tell you the cost of it, you're like, and so maybe you are asking your guest who wants filet mignon. Maybe everybody doesn't eat steak.
Mhm.
So then it would be choice of when they're coming down the buffet line. So you're not spending all that money on everybody. It's only on maybe half of your guest. Um, but if you have a couple that is just really strict on the budget on the menu, then we're like, okay, so this is probably the lowest we can get you, and you're gonna have a very basic menu. It's gonna be delicious, but you're probably more of like a chicken, two sides, and a salad and a dinner roll. But it's not, it's still gonna taste great, but you're not gonna get that filet mignon for $40 a person. It's just food is expensive and it's not happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everywhere is more expensive right now for food.
Right.
So what advice or what would you say to that couple that's like, I really don't need a planner. I don't need a coordinator. I've got my family. They're going to do it all for me. So I don't need to spend that extra money there. That's how I'm going to say.
I would say if they really are strict on that, then finding someone who is a close friend who you trust that can really follow your strict plan and they don't deviate from it because you have family members and friends sometimes that will insert their ideas. Oh, but I thought this was going to look better. And oh, I thought, but I just really know you and I know that you would love this. And so then you have to be respectfully respectful and like respectfully decline what their suggestion is, and people's feelings get hurt really easy around that time. And so if you have a friend that is neutral and that can just stick to your plan, then that helps. However, I do try to get them to understand having at least a day of coordinator is going to save you so much stress and headache because then you don't have to worry about any of that stuff and your friends and your family can enjoy your day along with you.
So I think a lot of uh, folks don't always necessarily know the difference between a day of coordinator and a planner. Can
Mhm.
you kind of give us a little bit more information about that?
Sure. So a planner is someone who's going to be with you from day one or from the time that you hire them, and they're going to help you with negotiating vendors and helping you pick out your colors and the theme of your wedding, what location you're going to have your wedding at, going to all your meetings with you possibly, and helping you pick out like if you want chargers or not, if designing your tablescape, designing your sweetheart table, how you're going to have your ceremony, how you're going to have the arch, and if you're going to have a sand ceremony in there, you're going to light candles. They help you with every single detail from beginning to end. A day of planner is just that for the day of. They may connect with you 4 to 6 weeks prior to your wedding, and then they are connecting with the vendors, letting them know that you are the point of contact for that day, and then they are helping you with the day of from for the 12 to 14 hours for the day. They're helping with your family members. I always tell the family or the wedding party, ask me all the questions. Don't ask the couple anything. Ask me so that I can help navigate, find you the answer. If I don't know the answer, then I'll go ask the couple so that the couple has one person that's asking them questions all day and not being inundated with what's this? Where do I go? What do I do? What time does it start? They're already stressed. They already have all the jitters. Don't bother them. And so just being that person to again keep them calm and making sure the timeline is staying on time, and letting everybody know. I do the rehearsal as well. So I help them walk through the rehearsal for the day of, and I do it for obviously the full planning. But I help them do with that. Full planning helps with transportation, finding hotels, planning the rehearsal dinner if need be, and all those things.
Wow, that's a lot more in depth.
Yes, for sure. And they don't realize that until they're like, oh, wow, I have to do all that. Yes. I mean, you don't have to, but it's a part of it.
Yeah, I think that's something that, when you first start planning your wedding, you're so excited, right? Like
Mhm.
it goes through stages. You're so excited. We just got engaged. We're starting our wedding planning. And then you get inundated with all the questions like, okay, well, what are you gonna do about this and this
Mhm.
and that and this? And then you start feeling a little bit overwhelmed.
Mhm.
Maybe you don't know where to go or
Right.
navigate. So yeah, I think a planner is such an amazing asset.
Right.
They kept you do this every day. You know all the questions to ask and
Right.
all those things. So I think planners are amazing.
Yes.
You guys have amazing jobs. And like I said, your slogan should be you bring the calm to the storm. What advice do you have for couples that are planning their weddings and they're in the thick of it? What advice do you have?
To stay focused on each other, to stay focused on the end goal, which is getting married. It's not about the wedding and your family. It's about you. So I notice sometimes, well, my mom wants me to have this, and my dad wants this. I'm like, well, what do you want? And so I try to just tell them to just stay focused on what you want. Don't worry about, well, my guests don't like this type of food. Okay, but that's the food that you're serving. So that's what they're going to eat. And if they don't want it, then they'll find something else. Oh my, it's sometimes they just get lost in what they've seen on Instagram or Pinterest. And some of that stuff it's real, but then it's not real. Maybe it's not real for them. Like just enjoy, make the day all about you, all of the things that you love, all the people that you love are going to be there and enjoy whatever you provide for them.
I love that. What is one of like your favorite things at a wedding?
Um, Probably seeing them walk down the aisle, like seeing them see each other for the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty magical moment.
Yeah.
Have you seen what like I've seen one of the latest trends is doing private vow readings. Have
Hmm.
you had anyone do that
I have.
yet?
I did an offsite wedding at oh, what's it called? It's one of my favorite venues. It's over off Gerber with a circle. Has a circle ceremony set up, and it's outside. Wolf Heights.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And so they did their own private vow reading, and it was beautiful. It was like
Yeah.
under the willow trees.
I really wish that that would have been something that I could have done with my husband because I was most nervous about reading my vows in front of everyone.
Hmm.
And I was already so emotional and so jittery. And I was like, oh, and then he was crying and I was like, okay, it's okay. He's crying
Right.
too. We're good. We can both be crying. I didn't feel so anxious about it. But yeah, I wish that that would have been something that I thought I could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that new traditions are being started by everyone these days. They're just really making it their own, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be what our grandparents and great grandparents did back in the day. Make it your own. It's about you. I love how they do like the first look these days,
Hmm.
or the first touch pictures where they're not seeing each other but they're just touching each other through the door. And I think it's just all really pretty on how they do different things and really creative.
Yeah. And it seems like you really help to advocate for your couples to find their vision in that
Hmm.
and what they want, and maybe help them realize that they are able to do those things without, like, you kind of give them the permission that they
Yeah.
need.
Make it your own. Go all out.
I love that. So I know that you said that your staff will help set up and everything. What advice do you have for couples that maybe like they're still wanting, or they think that they have to have their family come in and help do everything? Like what would you say to them to help them like maybe be like, "Okay, yeah, I can let someone else take these things over." Do you have that meeting with them so they like tell you everything that they want in advance if you're the day of
Hmm.
coordinator? Like how does that work for them? Like what do they need to say or information they need to give you so they kind of can feel okay to be like, "Okay, this is now on you.
All
I can
right.
just sit back and enjoy."
So I definitely try to get all their details ahead of time, especially if I'm their day of coordinator. But then I also ask them to give me their one person who's a point of contact that is a family member that I can go to if there's any issues with other family members at the wedding, or who's taking all of your gifts at the end of the night, who is taking all of your decorations that you may have brought at the end of the night. And so that I stay in contact with them, and then I let them know my staff will take care of it. So a lot of times we have a courtyard wedding and reception. So we have to flip everything for them. And so we are setting up the decorations, and they may have assigned someone that knows what the table is supposed to look like. Because maybe they planned everything and they're coming in and they're like, okay, they give me, I'm like, okay, I need a picture, wait, exactly how you want it to look, and we'll take care of it. And they're like, really? Yes, we got it. And so we make it happen.
I love that. Yeah, because I mean, I feel like sometimes there's a lot of pressure put on our family too because they
Hmm.
want to make it look so beautiful and maybe they don't get to enjoy the day as much
Right,
because they're working.
right.
So that's amazing that you just kind of like take it all over for them
Yeah,
and make it all happen. It's
because then
like,
they can enjoy it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost like one of those Instagram reels where they just snap and it's
Exactly. It's
done.
done.
So, what advice do you have for our couples in general?
Oh, I think the same thing that I said just about them, staying focused on each other and making sure they make the day about them, not like blowing your budget. I hate wasting money. And I tell them that, and then they're like, oh my God, we love you. Like, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to make your day beautiful. You don't have to make it look like the Pinterest board. You can get ideas from it, but you don't have to make it exactly like that, because maybe their budget is not your budget. Some of these weddings are hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's not your budget. Because if so, you wouldn't be at our place, honestly. Like, let's just be honest. It would not, you'd be in a whole other country, flying all your family out, and it's destination wedding if you had hundreds of thousands of dollars like these pictures are. Um, I don't like one of the things I tell them to save money on is flowers because you throw them away at the end of the night. I'm like, do candles and do a little bit of flowers, make it more romantic, but you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on flowers to make your wedding look amazing. You could definitely do it without. And so I just try to help them save money no matter what. Like you can budget and it's still going to look exactly how you want, but let's budget. You're planning your life and you shouldn't start in debt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's great advice. And I think that if you haven't already started a budget, you got to start your budget.
Right.
Well, is there anything else that you want to add and tell us more about?
Just come to our place. And, one of our slogans, I know you say that the calm before the storm, or what is it? What was
The calm during the
the
storm.
calm during the storm? I bring the calm to
storm.
the storm. Is we allow you to come make our place yours. And that goes along with us, have me advising couples to make your day yours. So come and turn our venue into however you want to turn it into, whether it's a wedding, an engagement party, a bridal shower, or whatever, and just come and enjoy the way, come and enjoy your day and come and enjoy our service. And that we're going to just make sure that it's as beautiful as you want it to be.
I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I just want to thank our sponsors. Thank you to our diamond sponsor, Lush Balloons, our media sponsor, Real Wedding Magazine, our grand prize sponsor, Retreat Salon and Spa, our fashion show sponsors, Our Place Event Space and Kitchen, Carriage House Flower Farms, and our VIP sponsors, Petite Events, White Moon Rustics, a Doboink. And I have some exciting news. Our tickets for the 2025 show are now on sale. So head on over to our website. We have our new website up and our tickets are available for purchase. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next week.